If I tell you I'm hot, it's very different than if I show you this. You know visually that I'm hot without my saying it. The classic show don't tell experience. It's easy to understand, but it takes a lot of practice to get really good at it. This week's challenge is really around taking and doing a show don't tell clip using just simply a Canon M50, a few sounds, and some music. Before we get into the challenge though, here are a few thoughts on last week's Beats challenge. The Beats music challenge was really fun to do. I learned a few things though that I definitely would want to do differently. And one of those is using the sounds a little bit sooner than I did in my clips. One person recommended taking your visual and moving it just right before the beat of the music starts. And in that way, it actually matches a little more effectively. I'm definitely going to practice this on the next ones I do. The other thing I noticed is that I could have had shorter clips or had more movement within the clips to make it even more visually interesting. Now, obviously the music is driving when those beats happen, but I think there can be a little more movement anyway, and then the major movement is within the beat itself. So that's just a few thoughts on that. You can definitely check out the challenge here. So I found this one clip. It's really cool. That demonstrates the show don't tell. Check it out.
Imagine how horrible this scene would be if Mando felt the need to explain how he was feeling to you. Or imagine how much better this scene would be if they just took out the voiceover.
So how do you start doing this? One way to do this is I use over and over again is just to have your normal video and then get some B-rolls, so to speak, that you can basically put over the top to make it more visually interesting while you have the audio as the voiceover. And this works well in some respects, but it still lacks some of the storytelling element. So that's one way to do it, but basically you're just providing visual interest while you're talking to the viewer. Another way, which is what this weekend challenge is all about, is to take something easy to do. That's like making coffee, tea, smoothie, whatever, and break it down into chunks. And here's a quick clip of Daniel Schiffer with this in action. Although it takes a long time to master what he does a lot of handheld movements, which take a lot of practice, but I like that he keeps it simple that way. Here's another thing that he says that's really cool.
With these types of videos, you don't plan out too much in advance. You like to just kind of roll with it. Maybe you plan out your first shots and then bouncing ideas off each other, trying to see what fits transition-wise.
Yeah. The universe loves to play, and that's what this challenge is all about. It's just all about playing with simple tools, Canon M50 and some music and some beats. Some music and maybe some sounds to really drive a simple action forward. And once you get this and practice it, you can actually basically weave it into a larger progression or a larger video. And it drives interest and also commitment to watch the whole video. I mean, if you look, a lot of times it's harder to get people to watch through to all the way to the end to a video. And that's really what you want. You want people to watch all the way through. Most of the time B-roll is used as a filler, and you'll see a lot of B-roll out. I don't see it as just B-roll. It's more actually weaved in as part of the whole. And so you're not just providing interest, and it's the lesser part of the whole visual, meaning that's why it's called B-roll. It's like you have your A-roll, the important stuff, and then you have your B-roll, which just is kind of like filler. No, that's not it at all. The B-roll is just as important as the quote-unquote A-roll. And so what you're doing, what I see in this weekend challenge, at least for me, is to basically go through and practice this so that they weave together more naturally and provide a whole progression. So I'm not just throwing B-roll here and there to provide visual interest. I'm getting more of a visual storytelling structure within the whole thing, which is the whole idea behind doing this and the ongoing challenge is to practice. So check out the links below. There's there's one that's great. It has Peter McKinnon and Daniel Schiffer, and they're doing the epic, coffee B-roll and walking through how they did it. And so that one's great to watch. And then you can go ahead and, just during the weekend, do simple clips of something like making coffee or making pizza or whatever you want to do, and just break it down into visuals, and then really have some sounds in there that create impact, and do some music with some beats. So you really get it more like a snappy boop, 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 so that it creates that overall experience. When you're done, you're like, whoa, that was cool. That's what we're going for. When you have yours done, share it in the Facebook group or do a quick comment down below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.